Our mic is on that. Okay. So I'd like to call the Dover Select Board meeting to order at 6 p.m. No.
I'm muted, so I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay. Okay. I'll start again. I'd like to call the Dover Select Board meeting to order for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. First order of business is public comments. I see none. All right. Moving on to unfinished business, the 2025 healthcare insurance decision. Jeanette distributed some updated information that was better news on the difference than we had last time. So the actual difference between the MVP reflective and the Blue Cross Blue Shield reflective, silver reflective, Blue Cross being higher, is $68,912. That if all 21 employees, if you just divided it by 21, that for Blue Cross is $40,639 per employee, which is more than the MVP, which is $37,355. So the difference between if all employees were the same, all 21, it'd be $32.81 higher per month
To take Blue Cross than to take MVP for the silver plan. The gold plan's actually cheaper.
Yeah, and we should look at that, but we also there's not as much savings on the HRA potential.
Right.
Yes, Dan.
The only thing about switching insurance plans is you never know if you're going to have the same coverage as you had before. And I think the individual people should try to find out if they do that. I know myself, for example, Patrick Leahy's office helped me with Medicare years ago, and they pointed me to Silver, the thing in whatchamacallit in Springfield, Senior Solutions, and they offered me a great deal through Vermont for my medications. So for a number of years, I paid $1,500 a year for my Ozempic. They switched insurance companies to Aetna and now pay $3,000. When I went to them and asked about it, they didn't have an answer. I called Medicare, they didn't have an answer. I spoke to my pharmacist, he didn't have an answer. I'm worried about a donut hole because I used to pay $37 for 6 months and then $195. Now I pay $238 a month. So there's no answer for it. So I think individually people should try to find out on their own whether they're going to get the same coverage and the same doctors before we make the jump. Because the last thing we want to do is give back to people where we're giving you a new insurance thing, but it's going to cost you more money.
Jeanette, I think you've done some research on that, have you not?
Well, I've had feedback from several employees who are indeed reluctant to change to MVP because either they have out-of-state providers or their providers are not in the MVP network. And I did a little research as far as surrounding towns go, which in a way some are not really comparable because they don't have as many people on their insurance. But Newfane is staying with Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Platinum plan. Granted, they only have 7 employees on the plan. They do an 80-20 split, employer to employee. Marlboro has 10 people on their plan. They also have the Blue Cross Blue Shield Platinum, paying 100%. Stratton has the bronze, again with only 6 people on
Blue Cross.
Blue Cross, yes. Wilmington also has Blue Cross as well. They're staying with the same plan that they previously. The only thing I totally have looked at numbers way too much, but I was just contemplating if we could stay with Blue Cross and perhaps choose the bronze plan, which is only a couple $1,000s more as far as compared to this year's 2024 plan. If I could have my papers back.
So the difference
So-
between the bronze and the silver,
Right, so the silver reflective, the total monthly premium for 21 employees would be 41,403.88. The bronze is 35,128.80. Currently, we're paying about 33,000 with the Blue Cross that we have now. The HRA funding would be the same as the silver.
what do we lose on the bronze though? I mean, there's gotta be some,
We don't get as much coverage, right? So more comes out of the HRA. The bronze generally has less coverage.
I don't,
Across the board.
the max, the out of pocket, out of pocket, max out of pockets for, plus the RX, the prescription is the same as the silver plan. So I'm not sure, honestly, I don't know if there's gotta be some difference because it's less. It looks like the deductibles are a little higher. For individuals and families.
how much, because that will be HRA money.
Right, so that for the silver reflective, it's a 500 individual, 1,100 individual for the bronze. So, I don't know, I was just trying to see if there was a way we could continue with Blue Cross.
Hold on, okay. Are you done,
See
Jeanette?
the big thing on the percentages, the big blue thing? The big blue.
The slick.
Don't want to run into the water, but where would, when would the gold fit in on this? Can we, just
The gold?
like a bit of a neophyte and all this, but it's just speaking my experience, I think I went to platinum, I had the gold, silver for a year. And I had MVP and that was like a moving target, that was,
Okay, that's a good
they
piece
call
of
it
feedback.
MVP, but it's not an MVP, like it's a tough.
It's the HRA funding, they don't allow us, and Marco helped me with this.
Yeah,
The percentage of HRA money we typically use,
30.
30 to 50%.
That would be the self-insurance, that's all.
yes, so we self-fund that, and then many years, we have brought the level that we funded less and less because we haven't had that many.
Haven't used
We've
it up.
never, ever used it up. Yes, Marco,
To answer your prior question, I believe the bronze, the deductible is double. It's 6,400 versus the silver is 3,500. So you're coming out of pocket that much quicker.
mhm.
And
So we
that's
kind of rolled the
difference,
dice
yeah.
with this, but it has worked well for us, having a lower deductible and using the HRA money and potentially having to pay it a lot more, but we haven't historically.
So what would be the number then for the gold?
The gold, you can only fund it to a certain level, and so I'm looking at the Blue Cross Gold, the full funding could be only $210,900
Right.
versus the silver reflective, it's $344,100. And let's see. What's the difference between, Joey, how about the gold and the silver?
Well, the deductible is the last 1,400, as opposed to 3,500.
You pay a little bit more
Deductible.
every month, but your out of pocket maximum is lower.
So,
So
and I know I'm asking this for late in the game, but it'd be nice to know how much we're actually spending in the HRA each year, to know what we are totally paying each year between premiums and HR, which is definitely something that I'm sure Marco could figure out.
well, we've given those numbers out year over year.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
Yes, Jeanette.
Just to mention, if it rolls over into the next year, if we don't use it all, which we hardly ever do, somebody, maybe one or two employees have ever maxed out their HRAs. But anything that goes back over, it goes back to the town, whatever is not used.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
What's like the will of the employees, like do the employees, what are their struggles, if you were to that, the employees, or whatever? What's kind of, I'm again late to the game, but what's been the consensus? I mean, I worked at a place where, like, it was a menu. And you could pick 6, and it was another world, now I'm in another area, but like, what's kind of their thinking if you could take a straw poll? Are they silver, bronze, platinum? MVP, you know, this.
so.
Yes, Joe? Yes, you may.
So. Whether or not, the way we have it established now, whether or not we go with the silver plan, the platinum plan, the bronze plan, or whatever plan. We have been paying the full amount up to -15 at the end of it. So what it is we're trying to figure out how we can save money for the town by self-insuring by our experience ratio with how much HRA is being used.
Mhm.
Okay, so they keep changing things that if we could change to the bronze plan, but we may end up paying more out of pocket. We could change to the gold plan and we may pay less out of the HRA. It's really at the end of the year, how much between the two of them are we gonna spend or save the most on? And that's a lot of analytical numbers to figure out.
It's like the town is over versus like the actuaries, that's what it comes down to. Like it's the town against the insurance actuaries.
Mhm.
My stepbrother was an actuary for 42 years.
Correct.
Like,
So
it's a
we're using the actuaries that our town employees are actually healthier than everyone that's joining the platinum plan, everyone that's joining the gold plan. Okay,
Right.
because you're taking everybody from old to young to everyone who's whatever. Our experience ratio, if you were to look back 10 years, we've actually saved the town a lot of money by self-insuring the HRA side.
on the back end. Yeah.
Correct.
And we actually only budget 50% of the maximum HRA. And we still usually
Coming up.
don't use all of
Come
it.
in under that.
Yeah,
What would be the reserve amount then that you put in there for reserve? Like, what's the amount, what's that full amount?
well, I don't have the number for every
So-
department.
Oh, for the full amount, like
Yeah, the
HR,
whole-
Oh, the whole pool? Well, we're projecting the HRA for Blue Cross to be 344,100 maximum. We would put half of that in probably.
So like 250, Not even
334, 170.
Yeah.
less than 200.
and the hard thing for us is this. We cannot figure out. Like, I don't know how we would do it. If we did the bronze plan, we couldn't figure out if it would have been better for us to have the silver plan. I don't have any,
Oh, no.
there's just like, I mean, there probably is some way.
That could be a.
But the insurance companies
From-
don't want you.
In hindsight, you can go back and crunch your numbers and say what we could have done, but there's no projecting it.
It's really, at the end of the day, is how much we're gonna pay between the HRA and the premium. We're giving the same plan to the employees, it's just different how they're gonna get paid. The doctors, the deductibles gonna come out of the HRA to pay for that, it's just gonna be more. So it's a toss up. I personally believe that our self-insuring, we've done so well that I think the bronze plan, now that Jeanette brought it up, would probably be better for us. It's just hard to say how much, I don't know how many times people go to the doctors, or I just don't know any of that. But it would make sense that if we're only using, I think, what percentage have we been using, like 40%?
We've been using
35.
we haven't come to the, we budget 50% of the
Mhm.
total,
Yeah.
we've not hit the 50% each year, so.
So I would say if I was a gambling man, and I don't wanna gamble with our town funds, either way. I think the bronze plan, we would save some money, but we can't really tell. But it's. It's a
I would
chance
argue that
that,
you're not saving money, because you're gonna be hitting deductibles a lot faster.
yeah, but your premiums are less, so you're gonna,
Right.
right out of the gate, instead of spending. $41,000 in premiums, we're spending $35,000 in premium. So right there, right out of the gate, we have an extra $6,000 or $7,000 a month put
But now,
towards
like,
HRA.
you see if I may,
Yes,
this is
please.
all now like. This is also as big a change as the MVP, sort of at the last minute, like we haven't had time to digest. What would a serious health issue look like on paper, completely out of pocket with the bronze? It's stressful enough having, you don't wanna gamble with the town's money, you don't wanna gamble with like the health, the care that we're getting. There's a balance with that.
Yeah.
So I think,
I don't,
Oh,
approaching. I
oh,
think I
Marco's
have four.
talking.
yeah,
I think this is also like a last minute change like MVP, so we went, you suggested MVP, we went and looked at it. It doesn't really work, now you're suggesting bronze. We have to go look at it, we can't, you know what I'm saying, it's just not fair. I don't know, I'm in agreement, but.
Well, Sarah's got her hand up.
But if Blue Cross, Platinum, Gold, Silver and Bronze have the same in-network doctors, they have the same. The
Yeah.
dollar amount, which is all picked up by the town, if it's short. But you're not, the original question between MVP and Blue Cross was, are people going to be able to keep their providers? Are they going to be able to keep the services that they are contracting now? Are they gonna have those doctors? If you're comparing Blue Cross plan to Blue Cross plan, it's gonna be the same providers, the same they don't have different networks for different levels.
I think these are great discussions, but not when you're about to decide.
I also think that if we went with the bronze, we need to fund it more than 50%.
Right.
Because the deductibles are a
So
lot
you're
higher.
either paying upfront or you're paying in the end,
So I think it is a real crapshoot, I agree, but Joe,
I say we table it until the next meeting so that the employees.
what's
can
your
look at it.
date, Jeanette?
Jeanette's having heart palpitations.
Just say, that's what,
Okay.
that's,
So-
they're asking, that's what we do.
No, can I speak, sorry,
No,
I know when I spoke with MVP, I said, what's the timeline to get this to you, so if we were deciding to go that way. Because, I have to stack paperwork, that's one thing, just staying with Blue Cross would alleviate a lot of possible, mix-ups, giving people their coverage for January 1st. But MVP suggested by December 10th, if not sooner, to get everything in place. So I'm guessing the process is the same. So we meet again on the 3rd.
Perfect.
What is the plan for MVP? Is it?
I think the MVP, yes,
Yes.
but from,
The network.
Yeah,
What,
network.
yeah, so there's
Yeah.
with the insurance plans, there's different networks.
Yeah.
So MVP, there's different when I walked, because I have a baby due January, so this is kind of important.
Yeah.
If there's an MVP plan that, I forgot the names, but there's different names for the different types of MVP plans, so you could have bronze, gold, whatever with every single plan. So it just depends on the MVP network that you choose that will affect, because I know there's one MVP plan that does cover my providers in Massachusetts. But there's others that don't, so it just depends on.
I think right now MVP is kind of off the
That's
table.
what I was just
I
gonna.
don't think that, I think that we've heard enough about the pain that it's gonna cause to go through it. So now we're down to deciding how much we're willing to leverage moving to a different plan, which could cost us a fair amount more. We don't know. And Jim,
As an employer, don't you really want to offer the best
plan you possibly can to your employees. It's at least comparable to the surrounding towns that you're competing for that workforce.
Mhm.
If you look at Mike, if Mike loses an officer to another town that has a better healthcare plan, what is the actual cost to train a replacement? What's the dollar value of that? I think it's more than, you can save this much in bronze or this much in gold, whichever way you do it. Well, when you look at the employees, what is the cost to replace any one of the employees, whether it's the highway department, or the police force?
And I agree with you completely, but the employees don't, how many employees in this room have actually paid money out of their pocket using our insurance plan? Marco?
Yep, all 3,000.
Oh.
I
Mhm.
Very quickly,
Very quickly,
yeah, I had,
yeah. So, but it's not, in general, and that's something I mean, it's a fixed amount that you could, that's all you're gonna pay.
yeah, I was happy just to pay that.
Yes, Jim.
just to follow up, I think as a town, you have a fairly stable workforce. And part of that is because the benefit package is good, if not superior, than the surrounding towns. And I think we should stay at that standard. We're not an impoverished town by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
I just had one last comment, I have to get to work too, but I'll leave, but I'll just say this, like, I work in sports, and I work in hockey, and at a pretty high level. And if you have no players, you're gonna lose. Like the Bruins fired the coach, they have no players. You have no players, you're gonna lose. We have players. This town has they have A-level players. Finally, we have the highway department is humming now. We have jobs filled, the guy's gonna be a CBO. The police department, it's been a seamless rollover. Like, we have A-league people, we have players. And I know I'm probably, preaching to the choir, but it's like sometimes you have to overpay. And in 2008, I woke up and felt like I've never felt this pain in my back. $125,000 later, I had pancreatic operation that only 4 doctors probably in the US could do on a given day. And like, I had the best insurance, and if not, I don't know what would have happened. So, it's like the insurance company, it's such a dirty game that they play, it's like you're hedging. But what I'm saying is, our people, you don't want to lose anybody, there's gonna be churn, and people on the fringes that may leave. But they come here, it's the public sector, they're not coming for the dollar, they're not coming for the dollar, they're coming for the benefits, it's a great place to work with what we have. So if we could pay a little more, if it's gold or, dare I say platinum, then do it, but when you're sick and you're trying to figure out your medical bills, really sick, I didn't have to, it was like a nurse and the other, it was a current share of insurance, I was lucky. But if you're in a position, God forbid someone's in that, where you have a chart, it's nowhere you want to be. And you've seen the hospital bills where they charge 21,000, but the insurance company really pays 10. The billing is on the way they code it, it's unbelievable. But I trust the wisdom of the board, but just like I'm thinking, because I know that they're platinum and they're MVP, like to me, like gold, like it's gold.
Scott?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think originally, at least when I looked at it, to me, I was thinking, oh, MVP seems like a logical choice. It seemed like it was going to be okay. After hearing that it's not going to be as seamless for everyone else, I think everyone just said that's not going to be what we want to provide, because we care more about the staff and making sure they have something than trying to throw all this tumult into their life. So I don't think that was really debated. I think everyone wants to provide the most. The idea here was like, would we be able to put more money into an HRA and save on premiums, not take away from any employees of the town, because
And honestly, at our budget meeting last week, the numbers weren't these numbers. And so it was like $300,000. And we were like, oh my God, that is unbelievable. We have to look at MVP. It's now $69,000. So that is a much different number than we're talking about. So Do all the employees want to stay on the silver plan?
Yes.
Well, do you have the wording for the motion?
Doesn't the gold plan actually cost a lot?
But then you can't put as much in the HRA.
So the gold plan is not less in premiums,
Right,
Brooklyn is more in premiums, less in.
HRA.
but we're not
That's-
maxing out the
Right.
HRA, so then it would cost
Right.
us more.
okay.
Mhm.
It's the same thing when you're Vicky, and I see you wanna make a motion, again, we really should look at. Does the bronze plan make more sense to our town than just being done with it and spending the extra money?
Well,
I'm
we
not
could
in
postpone
agreement.
it, but somebody's gonna have to do a lot of homework on this.
It's
And
not, the homework
to figure it out.
is needs to be done, yes, but try to figure out, but the homework is really. Knowing how much it's hard to know how many doctor's appointments people go to and what's the statistics. I don't know if we could tell by looking at the HRA data. You know, because it's more, the deductible is higher that we would be paying as opposed to. So like on here, Jeanette, and I don't know if it'll show in our HRA like master list. When I can look at this with Jeanette it's the deductible amount per visits. It's all, so it's
So that-
hard that I'd have to look at the master list.
No, and it's also,
Oh, so you just,
Scott,
But if we went with the bronze or if we went with the silver marker, do you know that? Could that make any more out of pocket out of any? Employees, or would that just
Well,
be
the
town
out-of-pocket
pockets?
is.
We're talking about
is
3,000
higher,
dollars.
I believe, for the bronze, the out-of-pocket maximum.
No,
Not
it's
the-
the same.
it's the same.
Yeah.
it's the deductibles are different.
It's just, so the only impact would be the town dollars if we went
Correct.
silver or bronze, or
Only
silver or
difference.
whatever, that would be, you guys would still
Mhm.
get the same care, you'd still get the
Same
same
thing.
funding.
So we ever go to the same
I mean,
doctors?
just, I wanna make sure everyone's, all the employees are happy.
I mean,
So-
this is makes more, when you look at this. You can't just
hold
look
on,
at that.
Travis had his hand up first.
I don't think bronze is gonna be the same coverage, I think it's just like Vicky had mentioned, it's a less of a plan than what we're currently in, there is a reason it's cheaper, there's gonna be something, you will find something, if you choose to consider the bronze, then I think you should table it and look into why it's cheaper. Cause I'm saying it's the same, I just don't believe it, not, there's less money.
It's not the same, but.
Whoa, everybody's, Marco, did you have your hand?
Oh,
Okay,
I did, I think with the bronze, you reach the out-of-pocket maximum faster. So that it puts that back end 1,500 or 3,000. You reach that, everybody's gonna have to pay quicker, the town's gonna pay more. And you risk the employee having to kick in, I believe that's the case now. I haven't really studied it, but based on my experience last year with how my total cost of coverage came out because of that deductible having to be met first. You then go into out-of-pocket scenarios that much faster. And luckily, because we were on the silver, it took a little bit longer for that to happen. So there's a reason why it's cheaper. And then there's also like the cost sharing between the town and Blue Cross. They may not be the same as they are in like deductible then 50% versus deductible then 30%. So the devil's in the details, I think, and so.
Dan?
So everything costs more today. We're giving different departments raises because we want to keep them. So I go along with Jim's concept that you want to keep your employees and you want to keep them on a level so that they're real happy. And I would definitely go along with what we have right now, would be my call.
Jim,
Just to follow up on my comments, I think it'd be wonderful headlines in the newspaper, whether it's Brattleboro or the local newspaper. Town of Dover cuts employees' benefits.
We're not cutting any benefit.
We're not.
Yeah. Of course you are. I mean, if you're taking money out of somebody's pocket quicker, you're cutting benefits.
We're
Okay, so the way the motion that we make every year. It's you have to have used up all of your HRA money. To dig into the 1,500 or the 3,000, depending on if you're an individual or a family. So that's where it is. I mean, so I don't personally understand how it would cost the employees more, because the town is just going to be paying more out of the HRA because the deductibles are bigger. We say this is your whole liability is 1,500 or 3,000. So the town will be paying out of the HRA quicker. And so my concern is we're gonna eat up a lot of HRA money, and I would want to fund it more than the 50% we are if we're gonna do this, which is kind of gonna wash things out potentially.
so, I mean.
Hold on, Marco had his hand up.
I think we're hung up more from the employee standpoint on the uncertainty of it. You know, is it really the same coverage? You know, when you go to the doctor's office, is it really gonna be the same? And we don't know that. And that's really what's hanging on us. And some of us are going through in the process of some pretty big ordeals. And that's stressful enough than to have to worry about, you know, is this going to change? That care. You know, if it's literally dollar for dollar, I mean, you know, we went through the budget last week. I don't think there was a single line item that we looked at that said, you know, take another 1,000 off here or there. You know, it's like we were pretty, like, I don't know where in the end how much it all really impacts, really when all the dust is settled. Now, I'm grateful that I have the insurance, you know, that I have what you provide, but sometimes it's about having gone through a really wretched experience. I think the insurance, you don't want to have to worry about that if you don't have to. It just really adds another layer of stress that could be avoided. I don't know.
Well,
Again, I believe we should table it and let the employees look at it. I mean, right now, I think on the table is either between the bronze or the silver plan. I believe that right now, the audience is understandably not sure that the bronze is going to be the same, but from my understanding and my pretty decent knowledge of this, it's really just in the numbers. It's not inclusive provided. And because we do provide all the way up to the end, 1,500, 3,000, I believe. So what I was going to say is we obviously have to fund the HRA higher, which we would just fund that difference into the HRA as opposed to what the premiums are. And then at the end of the year, we're going to know if we saved or we didn't, if we go over that. It's a pretty simple process. So I say we table it again to the beginning of December. Let's ask some more questions. We're not going to change, as long as we can agree tonight that we're not going to change from Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world unless Jeanette says it's the end of the world that we don't decide until December.
do the employees want time to consider it?
We're not getting a lot of positive feedback about the bronze plan.
Can I have do you have the wording for the motion? Did you bring it?
I mean, I have the numbers for the.
But usually we have a very extensive motion that you have.
Well, it's usually.
That has with the 1,500 and the 3,000 at the end of the. So let's just think on it. Everybody here agrees we'll stay with Blue Cross?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yes, agreed.
So we will put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Which is not the budget meeting. Well, no, it's the meeting of December 3rd. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Nobody's saying anything.
Okay. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Like, Now, I know personally, if the bronze was to be any lesser or cause any more hardship or any of those things, I would, and you do find out, I certainly would wanna know, because that would totally impact my decision on which one we wanna go on. I wanna make sure that you guys are taken care of. That's whether our savings was $5,000 or $10,000, obviously that matters, but you all being happy is way more important.
I think,
Marco,
if I may, I think. That's a great, we will let you know, we're gonna do some research, but I think. It helps to, it really helps to have a lot of things out, like maybe next time a change like this, you invite in. Have a meeting like during the day when people are at work, guys are out in their trucks, they're out in their cruisers, I have the luxury of sitting behind a computer, I can research, but. If we just have, dialogue behind it and we can. Solve some of these things up front.
oh,
And,
well,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
expect that we would be even talking about the bronze plan
Yeah,
really tonight, so,
right.
so
Yeah.
it's fair, everybody should
Yeah.
take a deep breath and look at it, and, we're rolling the dice with, and we hope we're not rolling it with your health, we're rolling it with the town.
Appreciate
With the
that.
taxpayers' money.
No. Jeanette,
Yeah, no, the only reason I brought up the bronze plan was because I really wanted to stay with Blue Cross. And I thought that was the most important thing as far as from switching to MVP.
Correct.
Rather than.
We appreciate that.
If you were worried about the money, then the bronze is. The
Yeah.
better way to go for the time, but. So
potentially, or potentially not,
Right, and I mean.
and we don't know,
We could look into the plans more extensively.
well, now we've got it narrowed down to two, so
Thank you.
that's apples and oranges, and we will figure that out.
We're happy to do our part to come to what works for everybody.
Thank you. Tabby,
Linda had her hand up.
Linda?
There we go. Hey, everyone. I basically was gonna talk about what Marco mentioned. We had talked about trying to get together, which is very difficult during the day with the highway and the police guys, peoples. But I think even still, if we could try to do something like that, even in just comparing these plans so that we're all on the same page. So that when we come back in December, that it's a simple decision. That's just a suggestion. I don't know how that would work, but.
I don't know either. Does everybody have that spread, that one from Blue Cross that
That
you,
big blue one?
yeah,
Well, people should have gotten those packets in the mail, because we're all Blue Cross.
Yep.
So you got the big blue
members, so you
packet?
got that in the mail. But I mean, over the past month or so, I have asked employees to please, give me some feedback, so, and many of them have.
Okay.
So.
So is it,
We don't know, but.
Marco,
I wonder if, like somebody from Blue Cross could come. To really give us an explanation.
Good luck.
To sort of like, their,
maybe a Zoom
their
meeting?
navigators or something, I don't know, to talk to, but, just to help, because we're not experts, we're not HR people, we're not benefits people, as you are not either, so both sides, we're all trying to figure this out, trying to. We want what's best for the town too, we're taxpayers as well, so,
Mhm.
it's daunting,
we can,
so.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna do anything with
into
it
that,
tonight,
yeah.
but whatever
Yeah.
information, knowledge that we can
Sure.
all gain about, from looking at it, and I have that blue spreadsheet at home too, and I'm gonna
You do?
look at it. Yeah,
I don't have one.
well, I'm sorry.
My wife does.
All right, we're gonna move on from this, otherwise we'll be here for the rest of the night. We're gonna talk to Linda about the update from the assessor's office.
Okay,
Bye.
did you all get what I sent? And
Yes.
yeah, okay, good. I meant to send it over the weekend but But anyway, so I'll just start with basically I've been wrapping up 2024, which is just compiling value changes, property transfers, anything that changed or looked different. And that gets put into a binder. The transfers get filed in the individual property files. So this time, actually backing up a month or so, is when the sales study happens. I was able to get to the state what they needed from me. And so my portion of that is done unless they come back with questions on sales, which they usually do. But I do have all that put together as far as sales validity is what they're looking for. Let's see, homestead declarations are still coming down. It gets a little confusing at this time of the year, but it's only like one or two. They get processed and then it goes on to Marco for a revised bill. Looking at the permits that I've received over this last year, and I counted 19 permits for single-family dwellings. And that does not count ones that had already been started. That's new construction in town. I want to look up how much land is left, because things are selling and people are still building, which is great. And I looked at this, the MLS. It looked like the median price in Dover was $789. I think that's come down. I think it's more like in the fours at this point. And work in the file room, I'm trying to coordinate with Travis to get a couple of the guys to help me move some file cabinets around, switching out old stuff that I know I can get rid of and we don't need to keep. Other stuff will be stored in boxes, so that there'll be room. And then update on the reappraisal, Catalyst AP5. It is actually on my computer. I can actually get in there and do some things. I have not started inputting that yet until I get some other stuff cleared out of the way. But that'll mean, because we have one more year using ProVal, that'll be 3 different programs that information is going to have to be inputted into. And because of the difference between AP5 and ProVal, they are not allowed to talk to each other. So I have to do all that separately. So that's going to be challenging for me. And the only other thing that I do want to add to this that I didn't put in was I am going to call Lori O'Hearn and talk about the possibility of a parent that would like to maybe be interested in earning a few extra dollars a week. I know we'll probably have to run an ad in the paper, but somebody that could help with that conversion of the files. It's huge. I mean, the 2010 reappraisal, it's all there. So I think if that's okay, I will go ahead. I would like to call her because I think that makes sense. And trying to go with an assistant assessor or an assessor clerk at this point. And that's all I have.
Any questions of Linda from anybody? Seeing none, thank you, Linda, for the update, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the highway, we have a general highway update, Travis.
Yes, I feel like I haven't been here for most of the summer to any of the board meetings, so I figured I would just pop in and give you guys an update on what's been done and completed and where we're at. Our paving was completed in July.
Awesome,
Line painting was completed in October. We just barely completed a stone line ditch for grants and aid, $27,000. Jeanette and I are working on getting together and submitting the paperwork for that, for grants and aid. We had the Green Mountain Power do the trenching on North Street. I oversaw that. It went pretty well, you know, we had those meetings and talks with Green Mountain. They did, however, just within the last few weeks, come back and put some gravel down on our roads, free of charge.
very good.
4 or 5 inches of good gravel from Sosimo, full width of the road. I got any sections that I thought that I felt needed it, which I marked out some pretty good sections. They put it right to it for us, so very pleased in that aspect. Oh, we had some ballast, some old lighting that was bad in the daycare and library. A electrician contractor told us that we should apply to Efficiency Vermont, so we did. We got $2,100 in Efficiency Vermont funding, and that work has been completed and done, all updated with LED lighting in the daycare.
Nice.
The other thing, our purchases of our trucks, we got the maintenance truck purchased for Dave. We're about $25,000 under budget on that. We budgeted 60 and came in 45.
No way.
Yep. So there we had savings there. The 6500 GMC, the medium duty truck that we're having built.
Mhm.
I wanted to notify you guys of this. I'm gonna put it together myself. Me and one of the guys. Viking has called us. And at first they couldn't get our truck in to put the plow equipment and the dump body on. So we've had the truck since July. It's been sitting there all summer.
Wow.
Since July, okay? Just the cabin chassis. I had it lettered. We started getting our part ready. And then they called again. They said they didn't want to see it until December. So they called again just recently and said, we fired a guy, the other guy's out with back injury, easily 60 to 90 days more. Okay. So I called a few other vendors to see if they could help us out. They were either busy or didn't want to step on any toes of any other vendors. And so that's when I got to looking at our previous build from the year prior. And most of the stuff is bolt on and wiring and calibrating and stuff that I know I can do, and with the help of one of my other guys, we can peck at it through, in our downtime through the winter, no problem. And still have it done before it would have even gotten sent out. So in doing so, I asked them for a price for purchasing the equipment out the door. Just getting it from them, I'll take it down, put it in our town garage, put it together myself. And that saved us $20,000 off the top of that 6500 chassis that we budgeted 130. No, we budgeted 160 for that one.
So have you put it together already? Or you're working?
No, I've got a good portion of it.
Okay.
Yeah, the hydraulic pump is mounted, I haven't gone up and picked up the body and the plow and the wing, but everything bolts on, it's. You know, and. It's not, building a big truck would be totally different, you know, they need indoor cranes and all this, but it's a little truck, we can do that stuff with a loader.
Wow.
So, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on some of the stuff we completed and.
Great. I appreciate your initiative on that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
Yay.
absolutely. Anything else?
Our refurbished truck, it's just about complete, we did go over budget on that, there was some more things that. It's one of those things, once you get into it, it's like, it needs this, so we were 16,000 over on that. But, you know, with the savings of the other trucks are, you know, I think overall capital equipment from highway is like 30,000 under what was budgeted, so.
Good. I saw some bills in there,
Yeah,
for the,
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Okay, good, thank you.
but just a general
And
update.
when do you think it's gonna snow?
Probably soon.
Yeah,
Not
As
for
far
one
as-
big of our snow
I don't
tires on.
thank you, Travis.
Yep, thank you.
Police, Mike. First, consider additional uses of ARPA funds.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone got what I sent to Jeanette earlier, but it's pretty simple. What I'm looking for, is to fund some new firearms, which I mentioned at our budget meeting, we're past due to get new firearms. And so that's one ask. I put it in my budget for next year,
Mhm.
but I would like to do it sooner than later, to be honest with you, because we haven't had issues necessarily, but it's, as I said, past due that we should have these. Then just an update on buying a new vehicle for this fiscal year has been a nightmare. Long story short, it's a nightmare. But I have finally found two different vehicles. One is available immediately, a 2024, and one is a 2025 that I can order. But they can't tell me when they may build it or when they may deliver it. And then whenever that is, it's months and months out. Currently, it will probably get worse before it gets better for outfitting it with that company for the 2025. So I prefer to go with the 2024, which is down in Mass. It's a municipal dealer, so they only deal with municipal vehicles. They will not sell it to me unless they do the upfitting, we call it, of the vehicle, which I have the price there at just under $73,000 for that car, which was budgeted for 60. This fiscal year. So I'm hoping to be able to get that vehicle sooner than later and use some ARPA funds to keep it within budget. Or else it's just gonna have to go over budget. And then the last option, with Safe Fleet, we got all the new body cameras, we got the new cloud storage system. Everything's working great with that. Our old in-car cameras work with that system, but we're starting to see some functionality loss, just in the software. The hardware is fine, but because it's older hardware with older software, it's not keeping up with their newest technology. So at some point, it's probably going to start phasing out. So I'd like to start getting, for the time being, a camera every year that we get a car, which is, as you see, roughly $8,500. So long story short, what I would love to see is us to be able to get the new firearms, the Tahoe that's available, and an in-car system for that, which would be a total ask of $28,511.41 of ARPA funds to keep it all within budget.
Can the camera systems wait till the next fiscal year?
It could, so the next 2 years for vehicles are the sedans, which we'll talk about at the capital equipment meeting. Because I have some new ideas for that, which is going to save some money actually, so it could go in those to balance things out. Moving forward, though, these SUVs are only gonna go up in price too, so. Just to give you an idea, the 23 Tahoes were 47,000, the 24s were 51. And the 25s are 54. So I don't see that leveling off anytime real soon.
What does everybody have to think about? I think you should buy the cruiser, my personal feeling. And whether you go over or not is, I think we just get the cruiser because I think you're right. You should get that one that's on the lot.
Yeah.
Um,
As I don't know if you saw my note, but the scheduled upfitting for that is still April. So we won't have a cruiser.
but then you have the vehicle.
Yeah, we'll be able to get it, we'll be able to use it in town, get it registered, it'll help us out, but it won't be a road ready cruiser until at least probably May.
You say it's ready, but they won't outfit it until April,
They're scheduled out that far.
so you can get it.
It's sitting on a lot, you could get it right.
So we could own it and then get it fitted when the opening came.
Yep.
It's better than, you know,
And this one just
Better than
came
that
up, I've been on a waiting list to get done.
but like this one, we have no idea about the 2025.
Yeah, they can't tell me anything.
Right,
So,
That could be August, September, October.
partial if better.
yeah. Do you like the Tahoes?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, there's not a whole lot of options out there that can do what we need, and we have not had a lot of success lately with those Fords, as you guys probably have seen in the
Mhm.
Bills.
maintenance
Mhm.
line item, so people that have had the Tahoes for a long time say they last quite a bit longer with less upkeep, so we're hoping that continues.
I just know we've turned down other departments for ARPA money. It kind of,
I'm just asking.
and
I'm
we
getting
really,
calls about
we just really. I think we need to make a motion to earmark all the rest of the ARPA to the well.
Just be done with it.
Which is 168,000, wasn't that the number that was thrown out the other day for the, at 163? I really feel that we should do that because it's gonna, I don't know, we'll have to budget a lot of money for that too. But I think that getting the vehicle on the lot is a smart thing to do right now, and I think the other two can go into your budget for next year, Mike.
Okay.
Are you guys good with that?
I'm not good with having an extra vehicle registered and insured while then we're adding a vehicle, so it's costing the town more money. Right, because the other vehicle's staying in the thing where normally we would trade that out and take.
Usually there's some overlap a
Mhm.
little bit.
Right,
just a couple.
but this is a lot of overlap in this
Sure.
case,
I
so
don't really have.
it's
another
costing
option.
us more money. But it is nice to have a spare vehicle, so in that retrospect, even though it's not outfitted, I kind of agree with it. You have, we do have a pretty good sized fleet now, so. I'd rather not have a car down in the winter time when it's busy, so I'm okay with it.
I think we're lucky that
Not
one became available.
Yeah, but there, to be honest, and the funny thing is it came available the day after I made the deal with the guy for a 2025, so he's gonna let me back out of that deal. If you guys are good with me doing the 2024 for a little bit.
So my question is, the 2025, was it more money or less?
It's right here on what he sent.
It's more money at base
Not
price,
five.
but costing less to upfit because I can use a company that I use regularly, that's cheaper. But not by much, if we're talking $900 total.
Yeah. So
And you wouldn't get that.
And we don't even know when. They can't
We
give them a
don't-
date. They only go into production on these particular vehicles on certain, when they have enough orders, right?
Right, when they have enough orders and they don't know when that will be, so they literally can't tell me a thing.
So, and is the upfitting, is that a firm price on the upfitting of the 24?
It's a firm quote, but they can fluctuate up or down depending on what they find they may need or what they can and can't use from our.
So it's gonna be, they're a little, okay.
Yeah.
Here's a question, could Travis if we got the parts, could you do car too?
So
Might have a little side contract.
Yes, into sirens.
we would pay a premium for the parts if they did not
Well, just tell them, hey, we need the car now, could we just, like he did, just get the parts, maybe just slap it.
Yeah, but we may have a lot of snow this winter and he won't have any time to do it.
Maybe, but he might not.
The labor's not that much, to be honest,
Yeah.
and if we paid a premium for the parts, I think it would even out, and then he'd be on the hook if something
Mhm.
wrong instead of them.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I think we need to, do we have the exact, or we can just probably say the remaining?
63897.29. So
Hold on. Yes, Mike.
Just to be clear, we're not going to consider the firearms at this point. For the ARPA.
No.
I think not, I think they should, it should be something that it was budgeted and,
Sure.
you know,
It's
and.
already in there.
And we haven't known how to budget for this well for a long time, and we've been paying and paying and paying out, and so I think that we just really need to reserve this, and I guarantee you that probably won't cover the whole cost, $163,000. Yeah, oh yeah, because we've got to redo the whole room up there too, the utility room. Yes, yes, yeah,
Right over, it's like
Furnaces.
3,000.
huh?
water treatment.
Yeah.
Furnaces.
Everything.
Yes, don't forget. Yes. Those are way overdue furnaces.
So we need to be on record for earmarking it if everybody agrees to do it for the well and the, you know, getting the water system set and at the common.
Right, so I make a motion that we earmark the remaining ARPA funding in the amount of $163,897.29 to be used for the water system and corresponding upfitting at the library building.
That's good.
That's it. Second, was that a complete motion, Jeanette, or I felt like I left out something?
You kind of faded at the end.
Yeah, I
but
did,
think
I
we got
got it,
it.
because I was like, there's another phrase that goes here, but I can't remember what it is.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're moving on to the opening of roads.
Yeah, so it's the same list as last year with just an updated date. Another thing.
Andy,
So, I saw Mr. Garber at the meeting last night, and he asked if I was gonna be here tonight. Because, in addition to what you normally do, Wardsboro.
I don't mean to interrupt, but that's set for next meeting. That's already dealt with.
Okay.
To be discussed at that point.
So what's being discussed?
the opening of roads to snowmobile traffic, so that they can access the trails from the vast trails and we do this every year.
I kind of would like to hear what Andy was starting to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, you're gonna consider Wardsboro's request at your next meeting?
we don't even know what that request is, so,
Can I speak to that?
yes.
Yeah, we had some back and forth with Mike, both Mikes actually, and Laura Gas about this, and what normally comes to us is a landowner permission form from Vast which is usually signed every year, this.
Yeah.
And this is what Mike, Barber. Sent to us, sent to both of us, asking for this trail, 324 Hathaway Trail, on behalf of the Wardsboro Pathfinders. And he wanted to add it on to the they're closing the roads for opening the roads for snowmobile traffic, and they're really two different
Gotcha.
topics, so.
So this isn't warned,
this
so we're not
wasn't
gonna deal with
warned,
this
so
tonight.
We said, can we do this on the 3rd, warn it? And they normally, the Dearborn Valley Stump Jumpers also do a landowner permission strip form, which hasn't come to us yet.
Which
Maybe you.
they plan to have by the third, including I have permission from the guy in Morningsboro that Garber can represent him for that small section of trail.
So.
Okay,
So do we have any issue with the roads that Mike has given us?
This is the same list we
Same
always
list.
follow.
Exactly.
So we need to make a motion.
Yes,
Okay, so make a motion that pursuant to Title 23, Section 32065 of the Vermont statutes annotated, the Board of Selectmen will grant permission to the Deerfield Valley Stump Jumper Snowmobile Club and other snowmobile clubs with reciprocity agreements to operate snowmobiles for access only to club and bass trails and only at times when the trails are officially open on the following town of Dover roads. I do?
no,
Okay, I was gonna say.
and there are 36 roads.
There, for a total of 36 roads, the list has not changed from previous years. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, anything else, Mike? Thank you. Water Study Task Force Feasibility Study. RP, sorry. And who's gonna speak on this?
I think our Vice Chair, Randy.
Randy?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody. Yeah, the RFP, we've gone through the draft. We've got a final. It's ready to go out as soon as, we just wanted to give you guys a chance to weigh in on it if you haven't looked at it. We're ready to send it out tomorrow to start getting our requests in. We've got a pretty aggressive timeline. Hopefully we can hit it and then we'll go from there. First is to find a vendor to work with to get this thing off the ground again.
Now, should this be warned as in a summary document, that we're looking for these RFPs? Like in a publication?
You will have to run a legals advertise it anyway.
Something small.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
He said yes, and Eric is.
Yeah, I already relayed that to Patrick, where
Okay.
it needs to be posted on our websites. I told him to post it to the state bid site for them, but I also told him that I would send them. Like some of the things that we've used for those announcements in the paper and things like that, because that needs to be posted in the paper record.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I just want to give Eric a shout out. He was really helpful with this and his experience was invaluable to pull this together. So thanks, Eric.
thank you, Eric. Did everybody have a chance to look at this?
Over and over.
I heard you helped edit it too, Sarah.
Just a teeny bit.
So
Literally.
does somebody want to make a motion to approve this RFP for the water feasibility study?
I'm not going because I'm on the board.
Nobody.
I move that we.
It's right there.
Approve and release the RFP.
Approve and release the RFP for the feasibility water study that's proposed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Water Task Force.
Thank you, guys.
Economic Development, Bytown marketing update and funding request, and Tim Dolan is here.
Here, all right, thanks for having me.
Okay, then yourself.
Thank you. All right, so last time I was here, I showed you everything that we were working on this summer, the new tagline, all of that. So for this presentation, I hopped right into the numbers and the year-end review stuff. So starting off, as we usually do with Google Ads, we did spend a little bit more money this year that we had budgeted for. Concentrated that $4,400 into July and October, mid-October. We ended it right after Columbus Day, which really coincided well with the end of the leaf season. But overall did really good. Over 600,000 impressions on Google for the year, and 36,000 clicks into the website. A third of those clicks almost came just in 6-week period for foliage. So foliage is definitely something that people are really Googling, you know, Vermont foliage, best time to visit, that stuff. And we're doing a good job, I think,
of getting them to our foliage tracker and showing them real time what everything's looking like up here. Next up is media ad campaign results. So this year we did just about 23 million impressions and almost 58,000 landing page views, which was really good. On the next page, I did a comparison versus last year. So we did spend more money. It was 77,523 versus this year we spent 91,000 on our campaign. And like we talked about last time, impressions, we were down, spending that much, 17% more money. We were only up 1.4% on our impressions, but we did a really good job, we felt like, getting in front of the right people, as those landing page views jumped, 78% from 32,000 to almost 58,000. So about the same number of people saw our stuff, but a lot more people are interacting with those ads and getting onto the website. Next one I have for you is just our total website visits from May to October. So, last year we did about 125,000 views. This year that jumped up to 219,000 views. I did make a note that the Chamber moved their Wine and Harvest Festival from an external site onto visitvermont.com. So that accounted for about 30,000 views. But even with that, we were still up, 65,000 plus people onto the website, which about 30,000 of that came from our ad campaign, but that's still another 35,000 people that either returned or found our website in other ways. So definitely up there. And then last, we've been looking, we're always looking at those ways that we can kind of look at, is this working? How is it working? And meals, rooms, alcohol is a great one for that. But, what we always see is that our numbers are up and down these huge, percentage points every year with the 1%. And so we kind of started looking at, are we alone in this? And the answer was no. So that scatter chart kind of shows how all of these other towns, over the last 10 years or so, the ups and downs of their meals, rooms, and alcohol, and where you would normally expect to see somewhere in the 2 to 4% range, 2 to 5%, somewhere in that cost of living, range of increases. Maybe it's a down year, about the same. We're instead talking about 10 to 20, 25+% differences. And not just for Dover, but for, a lot of these towns that are collecting meals, rooms, and alcohol. So basically where I'm going with this is it's not a great indicator year over year of how we've done. And so that's what the next slide is looking at, is we kind of took a little bit of a zoomed out view and said, what if we average together 3 years at a time? We know these things are up and down, but let's average them together. And that gives us a little bit of a softer line. 2015, we're not really sure. There was some data where in meals, rooms, and alcohol, it dropped from 7.5 million to like 4, and I really don't know why. 1% didn't show that, so I'm really kind of been looking at from 2016 on, and you can see both Dover and Wilmington in that 2016 to 2020 range before COVID were on a decline versus some of our competitors in the state that were, increasing year over year in their meals, rooms, and alcohol. And since then, since we've begun our marketing campaign in 2021, we are seeing an upswing that is, more consistent with some of those, state comparisons that we're looking at. And I should just note that this is just Q2 and Q3, because that's when we're spending the marketing money. So just some interesting data that we were able to find that, we wanted to share with you that we hope, helps tell the story that this is working and, it is bringing people here and they're spending money.
That's a good chart.
What a big step.
Any questions about recap, any of that before I head into budget?
Oh, this is helpful.
Great. So for this year, what we are asking for staffing, we just have a small increase for myself, year over year cost of living increase, but otherwise the content creator stays the same. Remember, we're only paying 25% of that, chamber pays 25%, and we have a state grant for 50%. So really that content creator makes about 12,000, but Bytown is only responsible for $3,540. Moving on, professional fees, we were thrilled with that Where Vermont Begins campaign, that trampoline we worked with last year to come up with. It, I think the results were in the data that we looked at earlier in the campaign, people, same number of people were seeing our ads and a lot more people were clicking in, which tells us that they really liked what they were seeing. So we want to continue with that. So we don't need to do any more brand development. Part of that RFP process last year, we were able to lock in rates for the creative. So that stays pretty consistent over the year. And then content gathering is the one where we're going down a little bit. We did a big photo shoot this summer, so we don't need quite as much content. That'll carry us, for summertime for the next 3 years. But I do want to do something with Trampoline, same company that did the summer one, and get them here in the fall so we can get some new fall stuff with models and some of our hiking trails. And then last, chamber admin, we hadn't touched in a while until last year. So there was a big jump last year. I think it doubled from 2,000 to 4,000. And we just don't want to continue to do that every few years. So we're trying to just stay on top of it. And basically I took the number that our overall budget is increasing and increasing that chamber admin cost at the same time. As we spend more money, it is a little bit more work on them, bookkeeper, that type of thing. Moving on, digital advertising. This is our bread and butter, so we're always trying to increase this, and that is reflected in the strategic plan. So went from 88,000 to 95,000. I will say our actual spend this year was 91,000 because we did reallocate some funds where we had savings from other projects. So we're really just increasing that about $4,000 year over year. And then SEO, which is those Google ads, especially in the fall where we're seeing great results moving on there. Scott.
Yeah, what did you think about the influencers? What's that?
Influencers, we were able to get in with one really good one this year. His name was Rocket. He runs Eat Vermont. And Instagram, he did some really good content for us. He still owes us 2 more posts, which will be in Dover, but so far he did one at the 1846 and kind of concentrated on their clams and that. And then he did a couple down in Wilmington, and all of them had over 5,000 views, each one. So cool. It's a different audience, but people that or more where our ad campaigns are going outside of the state, New York, Connecticut, that type of thing. Rocket has a really great following within the state. So it maybe gets some people who are the foodies to, travel down from other parts of Vermont to come and check out some of our restaurants. IT, this is the one where we had a big increase this year, or we're asking for a big increase. If you remember last year, we talked about geofencing. And because of the privacy policy changes with Meta, we weren't able to do it. And the price that we were quoted to do it with a third party was way over what we had budgeted. It was $12,500. I've reconfirmed that price with Booyah, who's our media buyer. They feel confident that they can do it for about $12,500. It is based on impressions, so there might be a little variance there, but it was way more than the 5,000. So we did want to include it back in here. We didn't spend a dime of the 5,000 because we knew we couldn't, get it, and you'll see that in our rollover later on. But we do want to take a stab at that again. That would again be creating that digital fence around the area. So if somebody saw our ad on Facebook and then came to the area, they would track that so we can get a direct correlation between who saw it and who actually got here. Everything else, we're looking at is, well, website visits are up. Hopefully they came. This would be an actual, here they are. They're at least their phone is in Dover, and we're able to see that.
So just real quick, what's the issue of making that happen? Is it just
so
money or?
It was money, really, so we had budgeted for 5,000, thinking that we were able to do it within the Meta confines. Meta's the Facebook parent. They changed privacy policies, which wouldn't allow you. So now we have to basically go through a third party, they're called AdSquare. In order to do it, and again, so theirs is based on impressions, so they have a set price, I forget exactly what it was, but you know, based on the $95,000 that we'd be spending in the media. It'd actually be a little less than that, it wouldn't include our TikTok campaign, so it would just be the Facebook and the Instagram seeing it, that we'd be able to track. But you know, my hope would be I'd be able to take that analytic and apply it to the TikTok and at least give us an idea of, you know, what the conversion rate is.
So is that like a one time we did this year, you think you would continue to do that?
I think it's new, it's something that we wanna try out, so I wouldn't commit to long term, but I think it's, you know, valuable data. If it's giving us, if it works the way that it's intended, I think it is valuable data. Maybe we don't spend it every year, maybe it's something we do every 3 years, you know, just as a gut check type of thing, you know. It is a lot of money, but it is, you know, something that, you know, both select boards have asked about in the past, is this working? And this is the best, hopefully gonna be the most accurate way to say, yes, these people are coming here. Let's see what else, and then Ben Wango, I know you have already had that conversation with Eric. I've been working with him, he's doing a great job of getting some stuff set up for this winter. We only ask for money once a year, and we do, as a by-town marketing board, think that it's something that could benefit the entire valley. But we're gonna, you know, we don't wanna spend the money. We wanna let, you know, Eric figure out, is it working this winter? And then is it something we can apply to the greater valley going forward? If that's the case, we wouldn't have separate programs, you know, Eric wouldn't be coming and ask you for the same money that it did, you know, a month or two ago, and then Bytown asking you again. It would basically be, you know, we still have to have the discussions, but we're trying to earmark the money, so I think the greater hope is it works. And then we rolled over into a greater plan. Is that? So we're not double dipping, I just wanna make sure
So,
that's.
but you guys will let us know if that rollover thing happens, and if you're happy with what, you'll give us feedback about Van Wango. When do you think it's gonna start?
We're shooting for early December.
Okay.
The holiday went out, and then we had things through like restaurant weeks and some.
Awesome.
Like.
Awesome. Great.
And we have done a little bit of testing in there, so you can see actually on the next page, kinda, I'm sorry, when it prints out, it gets blocked, but you know, kind of what the different listings will look like. You know, so it pulls directly from Google, but then we can override stuff, so we're gonna be in the next couple of weeks loading every Dover business, you know, into there and getting something up and running. But it is cool, you can filter through it, you can search for a specific business. You can look up on the map, you know, in relation from where you are, other things, and then that gamifying piece where people can check in and get something cool that they can kind of work for. And then last promotional programs, we want to continue doing the Visit Vermont and Grow initiative video type things that we did that engages with the businesses. So, you know, the $600 there is just for a prize to get the businesses involved. Welcome Center in Guilford, we want to keep trifolds in there. We're very, very close, like within 20 trifolds of running out this year. So just increasing that budget to have more availability and make sure we don't run out in that Welcome Center. Email sign up, if you remember last time I told you, we started doing a pop-up on our landing page where people can sign up for our email newsletter. And when we just said sign up for it, we got not that many. And when we said sign up and you can win wine and harvest tickets, we got 5 times the number of in just a couple of weeks as we did the rest of the summer. So we wanted to put $1,000 in there so we could do some like raffle type prizes and kind of have that carrot dangling for people. And then last one is pole banners. You know, we bought 3-year vinyl pole banners 2.5 years ago. So next summer would be the target to get new pole banners. Those wouldn't be the seasonal ones, but the ones that stay up all year long. The seasonal ones I think we're pretty happy with still, and because they're seasonal, they can last a lot longer. They're only up for 3 or 4 months versus the ones that are up all the time. So total budget is $243,182. We do have carryover, like I said, geofencing. We didn't spend all of the video. So we do have 12,500 that we would, bring over, bringing the ask down to $230,682, which per town is $115,341, which is about a 7% increase from what we had last year. And I did make the note that the strategic plan calls for 254,000, so we are still under that. And last, I just got back from Wilmington and they did approve it, so. Any questions?
Eric,
No pressure, I'm just letting you know, because that's always is asked, is Wilmington in?
Are we in it?
Eric,
And because it falls into this budget year, we do have 125,000 budgeted in that line item for marketing, so we're actually under what was budgeted.
questions of Tim? Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome, thank you.
Do we, who's gonna make a motion?
Make a motion that we authorize spending of $115,341 on the Bytown marketing fiscal year 25 budget.
Second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Consent agenda. We have the minutes of October 15th and the minutes of November 14th. And I have them here. So. October 15th, we had everybody here in one way or another.
Okay.
To November 14th, we had. Yep, everybody here.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 15th and November 14th.
Second.
What? Now you can speak.
Okay. I've gone back and forth with Sarah about something you had mentioned. At
Oh,
the November 14th meeting.
So I make a motion that we approve the October 15th and November 14th minutes with an amendment to some comments that I made in the November 14th meeting to more accurately reflect some, I was doing some calculations on the fly and I was wrong. Jeanette and I went over them. I reviewed the calculations with her and amended my comment so that it reflects accurately what I should have said instead of what I actually said. What I actually said was incorrect.
But
So
aren't
can I-
minutes what was said? I mean, you could, I don't think you
It
should.
is what was, yeah.
Well, maybe you can do an addendum that says this was what was corrected to this. I think that would be more appropriate and that the minutes are really what happened in a meeting and not, a revision of that. But yes, if you found that there was an error, then just put an amendment on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start over. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 15th and November 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
And I make a motion that we amend the November 14th. That we added,
Add an
addendum
addendum, yes.
to the November 14th minutes to reflect the corrected comments from board membership.
Thank you. All in favor? We have no warrants to vote on. FYI, Trails and Rec Committee meeting is December 10th as needed. Next budget meeting is December 12th at 2 p.m. Right back here. Liaison reports.
Fire department wants ARPA money.
Executive session, I'm not aware of any. So with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:59.